Shalom, Israel. This is Yudah Yasharel. We're going to talk about the royal priesthood. Why are we talking about the royal priesthood? Are there real priests today? Well, the reason we're going to talk about it is because our people are so easily led astray. Even in the simplest ways, under the simplest terms, in the simplest circumstances. It's almost like our people want somebody else to think for them. And what do I mean by that? I noticed people on YouTube and even other channels, other media, social medias that I've noticed, they're claiming to be of the royal priesthood. I want to show you today where that is impossible to be carried out today. And I'm going to tell you why. When we were sent into captivity, that was considered a punishment. So that means that whatever ritual rites you once had, you were stripped of that. You had no garments, you had no breastplates, you had no tunics, you had no golden clasp, you had no ephod, you have no altar, and you have no priest. That's the whole point of being scattered into captivity. We lost everything. We didn't get to keep nothing. We don't even have our own native tongue. Many of us don't even have our own native names. And yet you think that you can call yourself a royal priesthood. You don't elect yourself to the priesthood. That is something that is ordained by the Most High. So let me read a couple of things here before we get started. I just want to give you an idea of the duties and responsibilities of a priest. And in doing so, I'm hoping you can see how it's impossible to consider yourself a priest today. So, the priest were to officiate. All right, this means that priest have to be in the presence of the people. What people? The nation of Israel. There is a whole community of people called Israelites. That's when we had our nation. We know we don't have our nation. The priests were to officiate at many offerings under the law of Moses, including burnt offerings, meal offerings, dough offerings, sin offerings, guilt offering, release of the scapegoat, peace offerings, heave offering, drink offering, incense offering, thank offering, and etc., etc., throughout the liturgical year. Now, let me just pick out a couple of things here, just to prove my point. Let's take the release of the scapegoat. Now, imagine somebody today claiming to be of the royal priesthood. They would have to be in the midst of the whole nation of Israel to do any one of these things that I just mentioned. But let's just choose the releasing of the scapegoat. The priest is the only one that can do this. It has to be done in the presence of the nation of Israel. They have to witness. This is why it's done, so that the people can see the power and the glory of the Most High. This ain't something you do in privacy, behind a computer screen. Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 10. They will teach your ordinances to Jacob, that's the priest, and your instruction to Israel. Now, remember what I just told you. It has to be done in the midst of the people. How can you do that? We're scattered through the four corners of the earth. How are you going to do this in the midst of Israel? We don't even know where they all are. We really don't know who's who. Our best guess is that we are from the tribe of Israel. Who and what tribe, we really don't know. So we have to settle for the fact that we are at least Israel. And a lot of us are not even that. They will teach your ordinances to Jacob and your instruction to Israel. You cannot teach without being present. You cannot teach without being present. They will set incense. Now let me make that clear, because we teach over the internet today. But the teachers who are teaching, at least on my behalf, I'm not claiming to be a priest. As I've stated many times before, I'm just a messenger. He gives me a message, and I give it to you. They will set incense before you and hold burnt offerings on your what? Your altar. On your altar. What is that telling you? You have to have an altar. So let me stop here for a second. Let me just try to paint a picture for you. Let's say I'm in New York and I'm a priest, and the rest of my tribe and people are scattered throughout the entire world. Now let's say I have an altar. What is the point of an altar if the people can't gather to witness the offerings? Do you follow my point? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Now, we don't have altars. Y'all know that. We don't have any altars. But you would have to have an altar and a whole lot of other things. We're going to get into that too. You would have to have an altar. So let's look at what was the role of a priest in the Holy Book. These were ordained by God Himself to offer sacrifices. These were ordained by the Most High to offer sacrifices. So, as I said before, you can't ordain yourself. You cannot elect yourself to an office. You cannot go through anywhere in the Torah and show me or anybody else where a man elected himself and was honored by the Most High to hold an office, especially the priesthood. I mean, that just goes without saying. For every high priest taken from among men, all the Jewish priests were taken from the Kohan family of tribe of Levi, is appointed. Did y'all get that? All high priest taken from among men is appointed on behalf of men, set apart for their work to represent their people before God in things pertaining to God, in order to offer both gifts and sacrifices for sins. Priests were able to sympathize with the people. Why? Because they were subject to the same weaknesses. Y'all follow me here. Because they were subject to the same weaknesses and also had need of forgiveness of their own sins. See, y'all, listen. When we got sent into captivity, Levi went with us. You know, Levi and Judah was always together. They were always together, and they still are today. They don't hold any ritual rights. They don't wear the garments that were ordained by the Most High, but we are still together. We may not recognize each other as Levi or Judah, but we're still together, even though we can't identify who we are as a people. So now let's look at what was the biblical role of the high priest. The high priest was the supreme religious leader of the Israelites. The high priest was the supreme religious leader of the Israelites. The office of the high priest was hereditary. This is important right here, y'all. Because this went down the lineage of Moses, Aaron, all the way down through their sons. The office of the high priest was hereditary and was traced from Aaron. Now, I want to ask right here, how many of our people today have traced their hereditary lineage to Aaron. We have what we call Ancestry.com. All these organizations that trace your lineage, your ancestry. Have anybody ever heard of anybody being traced all the way back to Aaron? Now, don't get me wrong, they are here. What I'm trying to show you is that that's been kept from us. Remember, we're still in captivity. The best you can do is figure out that your family migrated or were sent into captivity from Africa, some parts of Africa. That's the best you can do. But you cannot trace yourself back to Aaron. The office of the high priest was hereditary and was traced from Aaron, the brother of Moses, of the Levite tribe. You can reference that in Exodus chapter 28, verse 1, and Numbers chapter 18 and verse 17. I will just give you a quick look on what that shows. Well, it's not going to let me do it. The high priest had to be whole physically. Do you know what that means? The high priest had to be whole physically, without any physical defects. Now, without being judgmental and accusational and rude, I'm going to have to bring up somebody's name that used to attack me for just whatever reason he could find. He hated my guts. But I'm going to have to bring up his name because he's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to read this again. The high priest had to be whole physically, without any physical defects, and holy in his conduct. Does Rap the News come into mind to anybody? Rap the News was not whole physically. He had asthma, and he probably had many other defects that he did not reveal to the people. After all, nobody saw him. Nobody knows his name. Nobody knew where he was. And he catered to the Gentiles. So you cannot say this man was whole physically, yet his website still to this day shows that he is from the royal priesthood. He says he was a warner. There was some other claims that he made. All are untrue. But the people bought him lock, stock, and barrel. That's the way they did Lucifer. That's the way they're still doing today. You can reference this in Leviticus 21, verse 6 through 8. A priest has to be without blemish, just like the sacrifices that you make to the Most High. They cannot be blemished. They can't have any defects. So with these defects that I know he had, how could he possibly be of the royal priesthood. It's not possible. I mean, it just takes common sense. It is not possible. Either the Most High is lying or he was lying. I'm going to go with the Most High. I don't think the Most High was lying. In fact, I know he cannot lie. Because the high priest held the leadership position, one of his roles was overseeing the responsibilities of the subordinate priest. Do you know what that means? Let me read it again. Because the high priest held the leadership position, one of his roles was overseeing the responsibilities of all the subordinate priests. That means he had to be there. He had to be in the presence of the nation of Israel. You can't oversee responsibilities if you're 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 miles away. Y'all know that's impossible. It is not possible. Reference that in 2 Chronicles chapter 19 and verse 11. Though the high priest could participate in ordinary priestly ministries, only certain functions were given to him. Only the high priest could wear the Urim and the Thummim. I think I have a picture down below. I'm going to show y'all. Only the high priest could wear the Urim and the Thummim, engraved dice-like stones used to determine truth or falsity. It's kind of like a breastplate. For this reason, the Hebrew people would go to the high priest in order to know the will of God. Numbers chapter 27 and verse 21. An example of this is when Joshua was commissioned by Eleazar, the high priest, to assume some of Moses' responsibility. Check out Numbers chapter 27 and verse 21. The high priest had to offer a sin offering not only for the sins of the whole congregation, but also for himself. Look at this. The high priest had to offer a sin offering not only for the sins of the whole congregation. What does that tell you? Remember, we're scattered. We're all over the earth, all through the four corners of the earth. So how can we congregate in one place? I'm going to keep going. I want y'all to see that these people that are telling you that they're priests of Levi, they're liars. If you follow a liar, you are a liar. Y'all know the term guilt by association. They got that from the scriptures. The world of law got that from the scriptures. When the Most High said that if and when he comes back, not if, But when he returns and he finds you in the company of a heathen, that he's going to destroy that heathen and he's going to destroy you right along with them. That's called guilty by association. So the high priest had to offer a sin offering, not only for the sins of the whole congregation, but also for himself. Leviticus chapter 4, verse 3 all the way through 21. When a high priest died, all those confined to the cities of refuge for accidentally causing the death of another person were granted freedom. Numbers 35 and 28. Now, the most important duty of the high priest was to conduct the service of the Day of Atonement. Now, let me ask you something. How can you have a service without anybody present? Do you really think that you can do that over the internet? The Most High says there's nothing new under the sun. And he also says in Malachi 3 and verse 6 that I am the Lord your God. I change not. So how did they do this on the Day of Atonement? It was in the presence of the people. This ritual had to be witnessed. There was no way to show the glory and power of the Most High unless there was somebody to witness it. It was done on our behalf so that we could see the true power. The 10th day of the 7th month of every year, only he was allowed to enter into the most holy place behind the veil to stand before God. Let me highlight this because I want to make sure y'all get this. Only he was allowed to enter into the most holy place. Now, you got a priest, a so-called priest, on YouTube. Where is his most holy place? How do you know if he entered it? If he's even got one, which I know he don't. People, listen. We don't have no priests today. The heathens have priests. They're not authorized, at least not by the Most High. But we as a nation of God's chosen people do not have a priesthood. We are in captivity. All of that was stripped away from us. Wake up. Stop listening to these nuts. Only he, the priest, was allowed to enter the most holy place behind the veil to stand before God, having made a sacrifice for himself and for the people. He then brought the blood into the Holy of Holies. Y'all better listen. He then brought the blood into the Holy of Holies and sprinkled it on the mercy seat. Do you not realize this is a physical act? This is not something you can do on YouTube or behind some computer screen. Do you know you have to show your face? Among other things, He then brought the blood into the Holy of Holies and sprinkled it on the mercy seat. Who has a mercy seat? Listen, I'm trying to show y'all there is no priest. Not yet. But it's coming. Not yet. He then brought the blood into the Holy of Holies and sprinkled it on the mercy seat, God's throne. Look at Leviticus chapter 16, verses 14 to 15. He did this to make atonement for himself and the people for all their sins committed during the year that just ended. Exodus 30 and verse 10. The priest, they were to teach the law. And that ye may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which the Lord has spoken unto them by the hand of Moses. Leviticus chapter 10, verse 11. For the law shall not perish from For the law shall not perish from the priest, nor counsel from the wise, nor the word from the prophet. Jeremiah 18 and 18. Priests determined whether a person was sick or healthy. Priests determined whether a person was sick or healthy. How can you do that if you're not present with the person that is sick? You cannot do that from YouTube or any other social platform. This is telling you this has to be physical. You have to be where these people are. I can't listen to you talk to me over YouTube and say, well, you're sick or you're healthy. I have to be able, as a priest, to look at you. Again, doesn't that tell you that in order for this to take place, we have to be in a community of people, a nation of chosen people. There is no other way to do this. When a man shall have in the skin of his flesh arising a scab or bright spot, and it be in the skin of his flesh like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest. Let's say one of you guys out there in YouTube land has this problem. How are you going to take this to the priest? You don't even know where they are. They have no altar. They have no linen garment, no robe, no ephod, no golden clasp, no tunic, no breastplate. They have nothing. And you don't even know where they are. So even if they had all that, they have to see you. So let me make sure you get this. And it be in the skin of his flesh, like the plague of leprosy. Then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest. Or unto one of Aaron's sons, the priest. And the priest, here we go, physical. The priest shall look on the plague in the skin of the flesh. Can I look upon your skin of the flesh on YouTube or any other social media platform? No. On the plague in the skin of the flesh, and the priest shall look upon him. Do y'all understand? There is no freaking priest. They went into captivity with us. They sinned right along with Judah. And the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean. Y'all please tell me, how is this possible today? How is this possible today? And there is a host of other things that I haven't even touched on yet that they will need in order to be considered a priest. Deuteronomy 33 and 10 summarizes priestly duties. They shall teach Jacob thy judgments and Israel their law. They shall put incense before thee. How can they do that? How can they put incense before you if you're in Chicago and they're in California? And whole burnt sacrifice where? Upon thine altar. Now y'all know full well we don't have no altar. Y'all know that. Now, I took the liberty to show what a priest's garments look like. Up here is the breastplate. This is the ephod. This is the tunic. Over here would be the golden clasp. Usually it's on this side. I guess it could be on this side. This is the outer robe. This robe has what is called the pomegranate. I don't know what you call them, but they're pomegranates. And this is the robe of linen underneath. Now, underneath this garment, he has linen underwear. It is absolutely required to have that. Now, I have another picture. So let me just scroll down past this because I couldn't make that writing clear. These are the things that you will have if you are royal priesthood. A mitre, Exodus 28, verse 38 to 39. This is a mitre right here. Let me outline that so that you guys will know. This right here that's a mitre. Then there's a blue lacer. This is a golden clasp. This is the Urim Thummim. This is the breastplate. This is the linen girdle. These are the linen breeches. They're underneath the ephod. The curious girdle. This is the ephod. All of this. This is the upper robe. This is the lower robe. These are the pomegranates that I mentioned earlier. They're all around, all the way around. Like fringes. Okay? This is your linen robe. This is your ephod. This is your upper robe, your golden veil, which are pomegranates, your curious girdle, linen breeches, linen girdle, breastplate, Urim Thummim, blue lacer. I kind of covered that up right there, but y'all get the message. Okay? How do you know that this person calling themselves of the royal priesthood is dressed with this attire? Because this is required. The priest cannot function. He cannot make his rituals without this outfit. You got to have it. And it must be worn. This is the breastplate. I wanted to give y'all a picture of the breastplate. That's what the breastplate looked like. Now, more on the priest. Sins requiring a guilt offering. Sins requiring a guilt offering. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, the soul which shall have sinned and willfully overlooked the commandments of the Lord. That means you sinned knowing that you were wrong, and you did it anyway. Overlooked the commandments of the Lord, and shall have dealt falsely in the affairs of his neighbors. Now, neighbors, that means there's other people there, right? You see what I'm talking about when I say this has to be done in the presence of the people, the nation of Israel. That's who it's for. You can't do this on YouTube. You can't do this by hiding behind a computer screen. You can't do this if they don't know what you look like. You can't do this if they can't see your garments. You can't do this if they don't see that you are carrying out the ashes to their holy place, the clean place. I'm getting ahead of myself. The affairs of his neighbor in the matter of a deposit, or concerning fellowship, or concerning plunder, or has in anything wronged his neighbor, or has found that which was lost, or has found that which was lost, and shall have lied concerning it, and shall have sworn unjustly concerning anyone of all the things whatsoever a man may do, so as to sin hereby. It shall come to pass, whensoever he shall have sinned and transgressed, that he shall restore the plunder which he has seized, or redress the injury which he has committed, or restore the deposit which was entrusted to him, or the lost article which he has found of any kind, about which he swore unjustly, he shall even restore it in full. And he shall add to it a fifth part besides. That means everything that he lied about, the stuff that he found that he claimed he didn't know, the stuff that he stole, when he returns it, he's got to add a fifth more to it. He shall restore it to him whose it is in the day in which he happens to be convicted. And he shall bring to the Lord for his trespass a ram of the flock. Now this is what the people are doing that committed this sin up here. All right? Here's what they're doing. They're bringing, well, let me just read it. And he shall bring to the Lord for his trespass a ram of the flock. They're bringing it to the priest, y'all. And it must be without blemish. The Most High does not want nothing damaged. A ram of the flock without blemish, of value to the amount of the thing in which he trespassed. And the priest, y'all listen, shall make atonement for him before the Lord. And he shall be forgiven for any one of all the things which he did and trespassed in it. Now let me ask you something. How can a priest make an atonement for you 10,000 miles away, or 2,000 miles away, or 100 miles away? Don't you get it? You got to be there. This is all physical acts. Look at the context of this whole discussion. It's all physical. Nothing is being done in privacy. It's being done so that it can be witnessed. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, charge Aaron and his sons, saying, this is the law of the whole burnt offering. This is the law. This ain't somebody's suggestion. This is the law. That never changed. Even though we were sent into captivity, that law never changed. You just can't do it. You were stripped of your ritual rights. None of you came into this land of America or any other country of Babylon with your priestly garments. If so, where are they? You know, if that's the case, I believe your ancestors would have kept them for keepsakes. Those were too important. You know, like your great-great-great-grandfather leave you a diamond ring or something of value. That's a keepsake. It's passed down. Where's your garment? Huh? Where is your garment? He took it away from you. Now, again, I am not saying that there are no Levites among us today. I'm absolutely sure that there is. The problem is I don't know, you don't know, who they are. Y'all get what I'm trying to tell you? Stop following these nuts that's praising and lifting up Rap the News and all these other idiots claiming to be priests. If they were so intelligent and so versed in the scriptures, they should have known what I'm telling you. And who knows? Maybe they did. Maybe they did know. Maybe they were running game, making a lot of damn money. I'm not going to get into that. This is the whole burnt offering, and it's burning on the what? Altar. How many of you got altars? Huh? How many of any of us have altars? And it takes more than just that. You can't just have an altar. There's a whole list of things that you have to have besides the altar. This is the whole burnt offering, and it's burning on the altar all the night till the morning. This so-called priest that is so-called teaching, or used to be, and then those that are still out there doing it, how do you know that they're burning this offering all night long till the morning? You see, this is something the people witnessed. This was not done in private. It was done for the glory of the Most High, to show His power, His glory. This ain't about you. And the fire of the altar shall burn on it. It shall not be put out. What does that mean? Somebody's got to stay there and make sure that fire don't go out. How do you know that this so-called priest on YouTube didn't fall asleep and the fire went out? He's in the bed snoring. Do you understand now why this has to be done in the midst of the people? Do you understand how it's impossible for any of us to be a priest today? And the priest shall put on the linen. Uh-oh. Let's get back up here. Let's get back up here. Sorry about that, y'all. I don't know what happened here. And the priest shall put on the linen, and the priest shall put on the linen tunic. You have to see him do it. They're not doing it in private. This is supposed to be witnessed by the people of Israel. This is done on their behalf and for the glory of the Most High. So if y'all can't see it, then how does it benefit you? The priest shall put on the linen tunic, and he shall put the linen drawers, that's your underwear, I don't know why it's doing this, y'all. And he shall put the linen, what the heck? I'm going to get it right, y'all. Y'all just hang in there with me. I'm going to get it right. Okay. I think I got it this time. I got all kinds of insects. And he shall put on the linen drawers, underwear, on his body, and shall take away that which has been thoroughly burnt. All right, this is what the priests have to do. He's got to go take that stuff that has been burnt in the offering. He's got to take it. It's got to be thoroughly burnt. Now you're supposed to see this now. How can you say there's a priest doing this and you don't see it? How come you can't see it? Because you're scattered. We're everywhere. We're not one nation anymore. We're all over the place. That means the priest too. Well, I'm sorry, not the priest, but that means the Levites. They went into captivity right along with Judah and the rest. Which the fire shall have consumed, even the whole burnt offering from the altar. So you got to have an altar. These so-called priests on YouTube, they don't have an altar. All they have is the same thing I got: a laptop, a monitor, a mouse, and internet. That's all they got. And he shall put it near the altar. See how important that altar is? But you have to see him put it near the altar. This is for your sake. It is your offering of sin that he's doing this for. So what does it benefit you if you can't see it happen? And he shall put off his robe and put on another robe. I bet he didn't know that. I bet that so-called priest did not know that he had to have two robes. And you got these so-called teachers out there praising Rap the News. And don't get me wrong, I sympathize the man's passings. I have no hate in my heart for that man, period. But he was a deceiver. And the people that follow him are deceivers as well, because they praise him as a priest. Don't you know that you're calling the Most High a lie when he said, I send you into punishment and I take away every ritual right that I once gave you, so that you no longer can perform these duties. And you call him a priest? You are blaspheming. And he shall put off his robe and put on another robe, and he shall take forth the offering. How can you take an offering if you're not there? You get me? How can you take, and it said it right here, and he shall put off his robe and put on another robe, and he shall take forth the offering that has been burnt without the camp into a clean place. Where is the clean place? And how do you know it exists? Did you see it? Were you there? No, you're scattered just like the rest of us. And the fire on the altar, y'all see all these altars? Shall be kept burning on it and shall not be extinguished. And the priest shall burn on it wood every morning. And the priest shall burn on it wood every morning. How do you know that this so-called priest is doing this? You don't know. And the Most High says, prove all things, and shall heap on it the whole burnt offering. This is what the priest has to do. And shall lay on it the fat. This is a physical act, y'all. This ain't a hypothetical statement. This is a physical act. Listen to it. The whole burnt offering, and shall lay on it the fat of the peace offering. And the fire shall always burn on the altar. It shall not be extinguished. The grain offering. This is the law of the sacrifice, which the sons of Aaron shall bring near before the Lord. Do y'all see how physical this is? This is not hypothetical. This is not imaginary. This is actual steps being taken, physical steps, acts that are being physically done before what? The altar. And he shall take from it a handful of the fine flour of the sacrifice with its oil. All of this is physical. None of this is metaphoric. That means you gotta be there. And with all its frankincense. Do you know if he even got frankincense? Which are upon the sacrifice. It has to be put upon the sacrifice. And he shall offer up to the altar a burnt offering as a sweet smelling savor, a memorial of it to the Lord. And Aaron and his sons shall eat that which is left of it. It shall be eaten without leaven, in a holy place. Where is the holy place? Do you think the Most High kicked our butts out of our land into a forbidden land or corrupted land and put a holy place in it? Do you think that's the nature of the Most High? Put his holy place in a corrupt land? Oh, I don't think so. So we can't, there's no way that you can have priests in that land. Priests represented the Most High on holy ground, on holy altars, in a clean place, in a holy place. Is anywhere in the world besides the place where he placed his name considered a holy place? And if so, how come you're not there? They shall eat it in the court of the tabernacle. Here's the part I've been waiting to get to. Of witness. Remember what I told you? You have to see this happen. What does witness mean? What does witness mean? This has to be witnessed. It shall not be baked with leaven. I have given it as a portion to them of the burnt offerings of the Most High. It is most holy. As the offering for sin. So people, you cannot send to some fake priest sin offerings. You just throwing your money up in the air and it ain't counting for nothing. It's foolish. It's pure foolishness. As the offering for sin and as the offering for trespass, every male of the priest shall eat. Listen to that. Every male of the priest shall eat. Isn't that more than one person? Every male. That is saying there is more than one. And all of them shall eat it. But these priests on YouTube that y'all are following behind, sending your money to for sin offerings and all this other crap, they are the only ones eating it. Where's the rest of the people? Where's the rest of the males? It is a perpetual ordinance. This is forever. Throughout your generations of the burnt offerings of the Most High. Whosoever touch them shall be hallowed. And the Most High spoke to Moses, saying, this is the gift of Aaron and of his sons, which they shall offer to the Lord. Not to you, but they shall offer to the Lord. In the day in which thou shalt anoint him. Who anointed this priest that y'all are sending your sin offerings to? They're just collecting your money, buying all kinds of stuff for them. What benefit are you getting from it? Your sins ain't forgiven. But you sending them all your money. And the ones that's out there teaching you the truth, you send him nothing. In fact, you come to their channel and you lay all of your accusations and bad names and all this crap, you see how backwards you are? Which they shall offer to the Most High in the day which thou shalt anoint him. The tenth of an ephah of fine flour for a sacrifice continually. The half of it in the morning and the half of it in the evening. It shall be made with oil in a frying pan. He shall offer it kneaded and in rolls, an offering of fragments, an offering of a sweet savor unto the Lord. The anointed priest okay. I don't know what's going on there. The half of it in the evening, it shall be made with oil in a frying pan. He shall offer it kneaded and in rolls, an offering of fragments, an offering of a sweet savor unto the Lord. The anointed priest, you see, the priest has to be anointed. Let me ask y'all something. How does an anointing take place? Do y'all know the procedures for that? Well, I can tell you this. It certainly cannot happen at this present time. The anointed priest who is in his place, what place? One of his sons shall offer it. How can you fit this? I mean, look at this. How can you fit this in today while we're in captivity? Can you make this fit? It's not possible. The anointed priest who is in his place, one of his sons shall offer it. It is a perpetual statute. It shall all be consumed. They have to eat it all. And every sacrifice of a priest shall be thoroughly burnt. How can you know this happened? How can you trust somebody that is not willing to show their face that they have done this? Wake up, people. Shall be thoroughly burnt and shall not be eaten. This they don't eat. Now the sin offering. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, This is the law of the sin offering. In the place, y'all listen, when you see something like this, it is significant. It is not referring to this time that we're in today. But it's letting you know you can't do this. In the place where they slay the whole burnt offering. Did you witness any slaying of any burnt offering? None of you have. Not one of you out there can say you saw this happen. They shall slay the sin offerings before who? The Most High. They are most holy. The priest that offers it shall eat it. But do you know if the priest ate it? What if that priest, that so-called priest, don't even like lamb? Is he going to eat something he don't like? You don't know. You're not there. Or whatever else that might have been put on the altar for the burnt sacrifice. You don't know if they ate it or not. You're not there. Where are you? You're scattered across the entire world. You can't witness nothing. All you can do is take somebody's word for it. And that's what enables a liar. In a holy place it shall be eaten. Where is that holy place? Ain't nobody told me yet. Where is that holy place? Because it can only be eaten there. You can't just go anywhere in any country and say, oh, this is the holy place. I'm going to eat now. You can't do that. In a holy place it shall be eaten. In the court of tabernacle of witness. Huh? Do y'all get it now? All of this has to be witnessed. Everyone that touches the flesh of it shall be holy, and on whosoever garment any of its blood shall have been sprinkled, whosoever shall have it sprinkled shall be washed in the holy place. And the earthen vessel, do we know what that is? I bet you that so-called priest on YouTube don't. And the earthen vessel, in whichsoever it shall have been sodden, shall be broken. And if it shall have been sodden in a brazen vessel, he shall scour it and wash it. You see all this physical stuff? This is not metaphor. This is physical acts. This is what has to be done. And it has to be what? Witness. Witness. It is most holy unto the Lord. And no offerings for sin, of whose blood there shall be brought any into the tabernacle. See, you have to go into a tabernacle. Isn't that physical? Can you metaphorically walk into a house? No, you have to physically walk into a house before you can claim you're in the house. Of whose blood there shall be brought any into the tabernacle of witness to make atonement in the holy place shall be eaten. They shall be burned with fire. Now, I want to read Samuel, 1 Samuel, chapter 2 and verse 35. I'm going to show you when I tell you that there are no priests today. I'm going to show you why there are no priests today. At least not yet. There will be. And I'm going to show you when that's going to be. 1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 35. And I will raise up to myself This is the Most High talking. A faithful priest. Here's the key word right here. I will raise up to myself. Will means it's going to happen. It has not happened. So there cannot be a priest until he will raise up a priest who shall do all that is in my heart and in my soul. And I will build him a sure house, an enduring house, and he shall walk before my Christ. That would be David. Just so you know. Walking before his Christ, that is David. He said he will bring his servant David back. His Christ mentioned here is King David, whom he said he will bring him back. So Israel, I don't know any other way to tell you. If you don't want to be a blasphemer, then don't follow a blasphemer. If you don't want to be a liar, then don't follow a liar. Start paying attention to these teachers and what they teach. They're liars. They're praising men instead of the Most High. Oh, I hear them. I check in on them. And they'll tell you all praises to the Most High. Praise you, brother Raptor News. Praise you, brother this and brother that. Hey, man, you can't do that. There's only one power that you praise. You do not lift any man up like that. Shalom, Israel. Peace and goodwill to each and every one of you. All praises to the Most High.